guys, I'm here. We're back with more Five Nights with Harry by Harry LaFertz. Last time we left off, Harry and friends were at an old pizzeria. I'm guessing it's the pizzeria from FNAF 2 that they were in. And we kind of left on a cliffhanger, kind of not. It was discovered that Erika's teacher and cousin, I think it was, Fitz and Jeremy, who are the night guards in FNAF 2, are at pizzeria. So she's gonna go try and convince them, or ask them what's going on and stuff, or something. I don't know. Clear the misunderstanding of what's going on, I think. So yeah. Anyway, if you want to follow along with the chapter, it will be linked in the description below as always. So, let's get right on into this. Slowly, Erika made her way through the halls as beside her, Chelsea looked at her with worry on her face. Are you sure that you want to talk to them, Erika? I mean... Having seen the raised eyebrow on Erika's face, Chelsea played a bit with her fingers. What if they attack you or something? Ducking her head a little. Hey, that was a pun, because... Oh no, wait, no it's not. Because she's a chicken, not a duck. Okay, never mind. Ducking her head a little, Chelsea stopped and scuffed one claw along the floor. I don't want you to get hurt after all. More than a little embarrassed, Erika reached up and gently squeezed the animatronic's shoulder. Hey, look at me. When Chelsea had turned back to her, Erika continued. Nothing is going to happen to me, especially if this is my future. She glanced beside her where Andrew/Toy Freddy was and smiled. Besides, I've got you two for backup, and that's more than enough. With that, Andrew stood up a bit straighter. Yeah, me and Chelsea will protect you if it turns out that they're a bunch of bad men. Right, Chelsea? Nodding rapidly, Chelsea smiled a bit. Yeah, that's true, I guess. A smile crossed Erika's face as she reached the doorway and looked back as she whispered. Now, you do stay out of sight, and... However, she was cut off as the light shined in her face as a voice that she recognized as her professor called out. Who's there? Wait, Erika? Erika Perks? What the... Shit! Run over here right now before they get you! There was a grimace on Erika's face as she let out a hiss. Well, there goes that plan. Shaking it off, she walked into the room and stopped just inside the doorway with Andrew and Chelsea right behind her. Hey, Prof. While he scrambled to put on his body mask, Fitz stared at her as he hissed. Move very slowly toward me, Erika. Those things are dangerous. Before Erika could say anything, Chelsea placed a hand on the young woman's shoulder and shook her head. She's not coming over there. I've seen this blurry thing on the telly, so I know what happens next. Erika walks up to you, and you grab her and hold her hostage. I'm not going to let that happen. Silence filled the room before. Behind his Freddy mask, Jeremy blinked. What? However, there was something else that caught Fitz's attention as his eyes widened some. They're not attacking her? Hell, they're trying to protect her from us? What the hell is going on here? After he cleared his throat, Fitz glanced at his cousin before he turned back to Erika. Okay, then. You can all come a bit closer, but no closer than the middle of the room. I don't want those things getting too close to my cousin or me. You notice how the two animatronics flinched at that while Erika glared, for the three of them walked forward and stopped where he wanted. Now then, what are you doing here, and why aren't they attacking you? Erika licked her dry lips for a moment before she took comfort in how Chelsea and Andrew were both close to her. Distantly, she could hear soft thuds as Harry, Becca, and Vicky worked at the wall that sealed the hidden room. Remember that job that I told you I got, Professor Smith? It kind of has something to do with It kind of has to do with that. For a moment, Fitz nodded before he froze as they all clicked into place. You work for Freddy's now and fix the animatronics? Taking a breath, he shoved his anger down for the moment, though some seeped into his voice. Miss Perks? I don't know what the management at Freddy's told you, but those things are highly dangerous to people. In fact, one nearly killed my cousin. Now it was Erika's turn to flash up in anger as she glared at him as she noticed how both Andrew and Chelsea flinched. Sir, these people are not things. They're thinking beings like you or I. And call them a thing again, and I'm going to knock your fucking head off. You have no fucking clue what has been done to them and why they were so aggressive. Surprisingly, it was Jeremy who spoke up. What do you mean? What was done to them? Glancing at him, Erica took a deep breath before she answered. What do either of you know about the marionette and Fredbear's? Now with a frown behind his mask, Fitz felt as confused as his cousin often was, which was a strange feeling. Beside him, Jeremy shuddered a bit. Not much, just that it was kept in a box with music playing that I had to keep wound up. As she ran her hand through her hair, Erica grimaced. Well, you're not going to really believe this, no doubt, but the story starts in Nazi-controlled Europe in the 40s. So Erica told the whole story behind Freddy's and finally wound down. Several moments passed as Fitz got up and began to pace a bit. You're trying to tell me that magic is real and that Marionette is some kind of Nazi creation that was trying to create a cyborg zombie? That Vincent killed those kids before he shoved them into the original costumes to make more? That the Marionette controlled them to get them to kill more guards so that they could be stuffed in an attempt to make more? Once more running her hand through her hair, Erica let out a sigh. Yeah, like I said, rather unbelievable. But it's all true. Hell, my cousin goes to a school of magic. It's just they hide themselves by wiping people's memories. Fitz stared at her before he reached up to pinch the bridge of his nose, only for his fingers to hit the buying mask instead. Saying that it's unbelievable is putting it mildly. But let's say for a moment that I am willing to even give you the benefit of the doubt about all this. Why aren't they attacking now? And what about the toy animatronics? Also, what proof do you have of all this? Because I'll need some before I fully believe any of what I'm hearing here. It took a moment, but Erica relaxed a bit. Well, they're not attacking because Harry kind of went and destroyed the marionette in a fight alongside his aunt, who is one of the murdered children and who was able to resist its control. Raising a hand, Jeremy blinked. Um, Wait, this Harry guy destroyed the marionette, and his aunt was the one who was put into one of the suits? Slowly, Erica nodded a bit. Yeah, he's a guard at the reopened location. Attacked it with hammer one night when it finally got managed to drain the power to open the doors to let the animatronics get at him. His Aunt Rose is in a golden Freddy suit, though her body is still inside. That caused Fitz to narrow his eyes a bit as he shivered a bit at the last bit of what she had said. Wait, is he here in this building? Because we've been seeing someone in a Freddy guard uniform walking around with weird stuff happening around him. With a smile, the young woman nodded. Yeah, that's him. Though the weird stuff is probably Aya's doing. Seeing looks, she shrugged. She's a dead former guard who hangs around with him as a ghost thing. Anyways, as for the toy animatronics, well, they, kind of contain the souls of some kids who kind of died recently because of some stuff. Chica here is actually a girl named Chelsea. Andrew is in Toy Freddy. A girl named Vicky is in Toy Foxy. And a girl named Rebecca, just Becca, is in Toy Bunny. Finally, you have a small little boy named Robbie inside Balloon Boy. They don't want to hurt anyone. Suddenly, she was cut off by Andrew. Yeah, unless you hurt someone like Erica or Michelle. So, yeah, don't. Both Fitz and Jeremy stared at him while Erica facepalmed. Not helping, Andrew. Wincing, Andrew fiddled with his fingers. Sorry, Erica. I'm known to them, was the thought that rang through Fitz's head. Okay, if I did not believe her a little bit before, now I definitely do. That was too much like a kid being scared. Meanwhile, Erica turned back to them. As to prove, she bit her lip a bit in thought. If Rose was here, then I could ask her, but I don't want to bother them, which means... I glanced at the phone and Erika frowned. Do you know how that phone works when calling to the outside? Caught a bit off guard, Fritz blinked at his student in confusion. Does the phone here work with calls to the outside? I nodded. He frowned a bit. Not really. About the only place this phone will reach is of a Freddy franchise. Maybe a storage facility that I heard about? Why? Erica walked over, despite how the two animatronics looked nervous about it. Does it hook up to the one in Little Wing? Still confused, Fitz shrugged a bit. Maybe? It was then that Jeremy spoke up. Um, that would be one on speed dial. Seeing the looks, he wrung his hands a little. Guy played with the phones while I was here, and they were building one over there. I remember that Fitz told me that they rushed after, you know. Sharing a look with her professor, Erica smiled a bit. Well, that works then. After she picked up the phone, she pressed the one for speed dial. Took two tries, but finally someone answered her. Hello, Freddy Fazbear's Family Pizzeria, where fantasy and reality meet. I'm sorry, but we're currently closed at the moment. With a chuckle, Erica shook her head. Lisa, it's me, Erica. She could practically hear the frown on Lisa's face, as in the background she could hear the sounds of the animatronics that were going about their business. Erica, what are you doing calling here? And wait, it's reading as this line being from the pizzeria you guys were checking out. Slowly, Erica twisted the phone line around her finger as she continued. Well, you're right about the phone line. As for what I'm calling, I ran into a bit of a snag. Having heard the gasp at the other end, she was quick to reassure. Nothing really that bad, Lisa. Could you have Veronica come on over? I'm pretty sure that she can teleport right where I am. Unsure, Lisa hummed for a moment. I guess I'll go and ask her, and if not, I'll call you back. The other end then hung up, and Erica placed the phone back into place. Now we wait. Tears smiled at confusion on both Jeremy and Fitz's face as they watched her. Then Erica felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end before both male guards seemed to get woozy. And she's here. Once they turned, the two cousins were surprised to see Golden Foxy costume slumped against the wall. Suddenly, both eyes snapped open and it stood up. Erica? Lisa said that you needed me for some reason? Her eyes narrowed as she looked at Fritz and Jeremy in suspicion. Who are these two? Before Erica could say anything, Jeremy shakenly stood up. Ronnie? Is that really you? Veronica's head snapped in his direction as she blinked, as she recognized his now much older voice and stared. Jeremy? Jeremy Fitzgerald? Is that really you? At his nod, she smiled and chuckled a bit before she became saddened. It has been a bit, hasn't it? Confused, Fitz looked between Jeremy and the apparent animatronic as he tried to puzzle out what was going on. Meanwhile, Jeremy got up and walked around the desk. Yeah, it has been a long time. What happened to you? You disappeared and, well, everyone thought... He trailed off as the pieces fell into place and he slumped a bit against the desk. You are, aren't you? All Veronica did was nod her head as Fitz frowned in thought. Wait, Veronica? Wasn't that the entertainer that Freddy cross-trained you in how to operate the spring suit things? The one that you were going to ask on a date. Both Jeremy and Veronica flinched at that before Jeremy shoved his hand into his pockets. I think that it might be a bit too late for that. Having glanced towards Veronica, Erika walked over to where Fitz was watching the two as if he didn't quite want to believe what they were hinting at. After she cleared her throat to catch his attention, Erika grimaced a bit. Prof, just take a look inside the suit. Unsure, Fitz looked towards Jeremy, who had a far-off look on his face and stared at Veronica. Trust her, Fitz. Surprised, Fritz walked over and she moved so that she was facing him. Once he pulled out a penlight, he shoved it into the mouth and paled, as well as turned slightly greenish. breathing heavily as he tried to keep his gourd down. He then looked towards one of the holes in the chest suit and leaned in before he shone the penlight into it. It's a moment later, he rushed for the garbage can and started to dry heave. Oh God! Oh God! Oh bloody God! Harry swung the sledgehammer as hard as he could and knocked a large chunk of brick off the wall. As beside him, Rebecca's axe bit deep. They weren't alone, as Vicky was busy jamming the crowbar she held into sections of the wall and slowly working to pry pieces off. Bloody hell! How long are we going to be here for? A bang sounded from inside as Rose spoke up, her face visible in the large hole. Maybe not much longer. Just as Rebecca was about to say something, a hammer burst through the wall and nearly got her in the knee. Hey, watch it! Sheepish, Rose rubbed the back of her neck. Sorry about that. The work halted for a moment as Rose poked her head out of the hole and looked down. Huh, doesn't look like there's too much more from your side. For a moment, she rubbed her chin before she nodded. One moment. Before any of the others could say anything, there was a crash, and her foot burst through the wall near one of the thinner sections, though Harry heard the sound of bone cracking. The foot pulled back and then crashed through another spot as did a fist. Blinking from where she hung from Harry's shoulders, Anne looked over at Rose. Well, that makes our job a little easier. As she demolished another weakened section of the wall, Rose glanced at Anne, a curious gaze. So, I've been wondering something, Anne. The animatronic waited until the spirit nodded. I've been wondering what is going to happen in regards to you when Harry heads back to school. With a tilt of her head, Anne shrugged as Harry blinked the eye closest to her, which was utterly black with small pinprick pupils. I'm going to stick with him, even when he arrives at Hogwarts, of course. Why? Having noticed the looks towards her, she blinked. What? Vicky grabbed Harry's sledgehammer and swung it, breaking through a section of the wall. Aren't you in the least bit worried about how some might react to you being around? Rolling her eyes, Anne scoffed. It's highly unlikely that they'll even notice me, unless I make them notice me. Besides, considering the stories that Harry's told us, I think that he might need the backup. All Harry did was raise a finger and eyebrow as he looked around. You know, I'm right here. There was laughter as Anne reached up and patted him on the head. That's nice, dear. While she shook her head and laughed at the pat on Harry's face, Rebecca looked around with a smile. They're like a family. I've got a family. Jenna looked down at her blue plastic-covered hand and wished for a moment that it was flesh and blood before she shrugged it off. Well, it's not as bad as it could be. Now I've got a family. Not just me, Andrew, and Chelsea. I've got brothers and sisters and everything. Unknown to her, Vicky had similar thoughts. She enjoyed the talk that was going on. Sure, I may be a soul-possessing animatronic, better than all the streets or being home with Dad. I'm a lot stronger now. No one is going to push me around. No one is yelling at me. I've got a nice and warm place to sleep, and lots of friends. Heck, we're practically family. That thought caused her to pause and look around before she softly smiled and went back to working on the wall. I mean, yeah, it's a weird family, but still a family. Way better than what I had before. A shout grabbed their attention, and saw Rebecca back up a bit. Guys, move away from there. Once they did so, she rushed forward and then leapt forward before she swung the axe downwards as she used her weight behind the swing. The axe broke through one section of the wall on its downward arc before it came to a stop. Ha! For several moments they just stared at her before she blushed by her cheek lighting up and grabbing one ear. What? Suddenly, Vicky grinned a bit. Okay, that is actually pretty awesome idea. Give me a moment. Like Rebecca before her, Vicky backed up some and then rushed forward before she leapt and brought the sledgehammer in her paws down. Unlike the axe which cut apart bricks, the sledgehammer instead shattered them under the force of the blow. Yeah! Once the shards stopped flying, Rose looked over the work and then motioned them back. Okay, let's get this another shot then. After they had moved to the side, Rose walked to the back of the room and then sped forward. This time, when she hit the bricks, the damaged wall gave way. For a few moments she stood there and raised one finger, and promptly fell over. Ow. Robbie poked his head in and stared before he shook his head and laughed. The Kool-Aid fan, she is not. Having heard a crash, everyone in the security office turned towards where it came from as Jerry jumped. What was that? With a frown on her face, Veronica scratched the bottom of her muzzle as she hummed thoughtfully. Sounded like something crashed through something. As she sighed, Erika facepalmed and groaned. I think I know what that was. When she noticed the look, she shrugged a bit. I found where Rose was hidden away in that sealed room. When I left, he was breaking down the wall with some of the others to help her, so that she would not be trapped there when she has teleported anywhere else. Just as Fitz was about to ask, another voice spoke up. Yeah, though it was hilarious to see her bust through the remains of the wall, only to fall on her face. The voice got cut off by the sound of something hitting flesh. Ow! That hurt! There was a small growl. It was supposed to. Grumbling, the first voice spoke up from the shadows of the hallway. Anyway, everything all right now, Erika? Meanwhile, she chuckled at the byplay. Erika nodded as she turned. Yeah, everything is just okay, Harry. You the others come out now. Much to Fitz and Jeremy's surprise, the guard that they had seen walked out, though there was some dust on his uniform. But that was not what surprised the two of them the most as Jeremy stood up. You're a kid! Harry turned towards him and raised an eyebrow as he crossed his arms. I'm 50, and considering what I've been through, I don't think I can count as a kid anymore. Slowly, with a disbelieving look, Fitz rubbed his face. Jesus bloody Christ. You're still a kid to us. Fuck, Jerry was older when he worked for Freddy's. As he glanced with some surprise to where Veronica was, Harry shook his head. He did a soda job to take my mind off of some things. So, with Veronica here, I'm guessing that Eric explained everything to them? Still not quite sure of everything, Jeremy scratched along his scars. You mean about how that damn fox was possessed by a dead kid stuffed into him? And how the marionette was some kind of supernatural mercy shit? Yeah. He then narrowed his eyes and pointed at the toys animatronics. Still doesn't explain why those guys kept trying to kill me. Blinking, Harry turned a surprised look to Erika. Wait, you didn't tell him about the programming we found in the toys? With a soft groan, Erika facepalmed. I can't believe that I forgot that. His eyes narrowed at her. Fitz scowled a bit. What programming? Rubbing the side of her head, Erika sighed. You're Richard in your programming class, prof? Now that with his scare softening into a frown as he grew slightly concerned with where this might be going, Fitz nodded. Richard? Of course I know him. Kid is the best programmer in my class, and, unless I miss my guess, is a pretty damn good hacker. Why? After she chewed her lip a bit, Erika took a deep breath. I had him check the programming for the toys. There were some issues still. Even though the spirits of them are in full control, the programming was telling them to attack anyone teenager in age and older. So I asked Richard to check to see where the malfunction was coming from. It was then that Harry took over. What he found was that it wasn't a malfunction at all. That caused both of the former guards to stiffen and stand a bit straighter. Wait, what? As Harry nodded, Erika continued. He found that someone had slipped some code into the main programming, in particular into the facial recognition and behavior programming. One bit of code caused them to ignore a certain person, no matter what he did. The other bit, though, when correct commands were given, caused the animatronics to turn hostile to adults as they would see them as predators and eventually attack them. In fact, the programming told them to attack anyone with a uniform, such as security guards or police. Enraged, Jeremy punched the desk hard enough that Fitz winced. Who the fuck wrote that in? There was an unamused look in Harry's face as he leaned against the wall. According to the notes we saw, Tony gave full access to a guard who also worked as a technician. Seeing the paling face on Fitz, Harry nodded. A guy by the name of Vincent. Cursing, Fitz began to pace. So that was how that bloody bastard did it. Fuck! A thought that occurred to him and he whipped around. Wait, I remember that when they fixed Foxy up just before. Fitz glanced at his cousin who had gone stiff. That had happened. They had downloaded the same programming that Toys had. I know that Erika and Foxy, from when he showed up, said that he did what he did was because he thought Jeremy was that child-killing bastard. But was the programming a part of it? Both Harry and Erika shared a look of slight surprise before Harry shrugged. It's a definite possibility, which is why we were going to bring it up with law enforcement. It would help explain what happened, since his programming got removed from him. Hearing the last bit caused Jeremy to grate his teeth. You were going to recommission him, weren't you? Now that caused Fitz to glare at Harry, who was nonplussed at their reaction. That is the basic plan. The lawsuit stated that Foxy was never to be recommissioned unless there were what's the word? Something circumstances. I cannot say that word. I don't even know what it is. Extenuating circumstances. I don't know. In this case, my solicitor says that the programming code counts. Finally, pieces fell into place in Fitz's mind, and he boggled at Harry. Wait, I heard that Tony got killed. Someone else had brought Freddy's. That was you? All Harry did was smile and nod before he chuckled. I never had the good memories in my rather bloody shite childhood full of Freddy. And besides, my aunt is there, and I consider the animatronics family. Like hell I am not going to give them another chance. Just as Jeremy was about to step forward, he caught something out of the corner of his eyes and paled. Oh no. Everyone followed his gaze and froze with their eyes wide at the sight of a shadow similar in shape to Bonnie, except for a rictus grin and two glowing white points for eyes. Beside him was a purple Freddy who seemed surrounded by shadows whose eyes were also white as it stared at them. Then both spoke as one. It's me. Slightly nervous, Vicky was the closest to the two shadow beings and held up her hands towards them. Hi there. Nice to meet you. I'm Vicky, and both beings stared at her, which caused a shiver to run down her spine. Shadow Bonnie seemed to flicker for a moment before it moved. And the next thing that Vicky knew, she was sailing through the air and slammed into the wall with enough force that she felt her endoskeleton strain. His eyes wide, Andrew soon narrowed them and charged at the two of them as he noticed them seemingly flowing towards the stunned Vicky. Leave her alone! They turned towards him as he attempted to knock them away from her, but instead went through them as if they were nothing more than smoke. Andrew went to turn, only to find the shadow Freddy before it backhanded him and set him skidding along the floor. Ugh! However, that gave time for Vicky to leap to her feet as Rebecca rushed towards the fallen Andrew with a cry. You went and picked up on the wrong group, you bastards! Snatching the crowbar from where it had fallen, she swung it at them, only for it to go through them. For several seconds she continued to do so until she stopped. Crap! Fitz had just managed to knock his cousin to the ground as Vicky went flying through the air where they had stood. Okay, the freaky shit level just went off the charts. Rushing to where Vicky was, Harry glanced over at Fitz. What the hell are those things? Shivering against the ground, Jeremy gulped. Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy? They just appear out of nowhere and stare if you got the mask on. But I don't know how they're doing this. With a growl, Shadow Bonnie turned towards where Harry was helping Vicky up. Freddy Fazbear's must die. All Harry had time for was for his eyes to widen as Shadow Bonnie launched itself. It didn't reach him, but it didn't reach him though, as Veronica placed herself between them. Like the hell you're going to hurt him. None of them were surprised as Shadow Bonnie when Veronica managed to grab hold of his arms and hold him in place, her eyes glowing defiantly. You want to hurt him or the children? Then you'll have to go through me. She screamed in pure rage as she headbutted Shadow Bunny and made him stumble back as she let go of one arm. Then Veronica yanked on the other arm to pull him in before planting one closed fist into his face and sending him flying. Having overcome his shock, Shadow Freddy was about to charge at Veronica as she leapt towards Shadow Bunny. But then he felt something on his shoulder and turned to see Rose, her eyes black except for two white pinpricks as she pulled back one fist. You're mine! Foxy had been rushing towards where he heard the screams and shouting coming from, only using dodge as Shadow Freddy nearly slammed into him. What in the heck? Turning towards him, Harry shouted at Foxy, Get out of there! Normal animatronics can't affect them. Sensing something, Foxy dodged to the side in a combat roll just as Shadow Freddy tried to take his head off. Arr, you wanted to harm my friends, then? Well, have at ye! Instead of fighting, though, Foxy dodged around him, leaping here and there, as well as rolling just out of reach of the strike. You'd be slower than a drunken urchin. Arr, arr, arr. As he kept an eye on both fights, Harry gritted his teeth. Hey, do you have any idea what the hell those things are? There was silence before Aya answered. They seem to be like what makes up the Black Mass, as well as myself. But at the same time, they're not. But her and Harry winced as one lucky hit caused Veronica to stumble back some before she shook it off and charged back in. But what I don't understand is how is it that Rose and Veronica can affect them and the others can't? Unless... For a brief moment, Harry felt his heart stop as he came to the same realization. Unless they're somehow related. His head pounding, Jeremy got up to his feet, only to see Foxy rushing towards him, screeching. The former guard's entire body locked up due to flashbacks, only for Foxy to shove him to the side. Ugh! Suddenly, the sound of strange metal filled the room, and Freddy whipped around to see Foxy pinned against the wall with Shadow Bunny's hand through his stomach. The costume slowly turning black and rotting as Foxy had his mouth open in a silent scream. I looked to where he had been shoved. I looked to where he had been, showed Jeremy that Veronica was slowly rising to her feet. He saved me? Shadow Bunny glared at Foxy's terrified eye and chuckled. Freddy killed us. Suits failed. Now we will make sure that Freddy's is destroyed. It raised one fist up to Foxy's head height and pulled it back. Then its fist shot forward, only to stop as a human hand wrapped in black mist, grabbed it and held it in place. I think not. A hissing sound filled the air as Shadow Bunny's head turned to see Harry glaring at it with his eyes pitch black and pinprick white pupils. There was also dark mist that covered his body and seemed to seep from his eyes as he tightened his hold, the spot being from which the sound came. Ugh. Slowly, Harry pushed Shadow Bunny's arm back, both his own and the ghostly animatronic's limbs shaking from the strain of fighting each other. Harry suddenly spoke as a rigorous grin overlaid his own face, and his already wild hair seemed to move on its own. Guess what time it is? It's time to get your bleeding ass back to hell. Jerry could only stare as Harry grabbed Shadow Bunny's other arm and slowly forced it out of Foxy, the wounded animatronic falling to the floor. A moment later, the mist seemed to become more like a cloak around Harry, and small bloodshot eyes opened in it and looked everywhere. What the hell is that? Having dodged past the fighting Rose and Shadow Freddy, Erika grasped his hand and helped haul him to his feet. Even though I've never seen it myself, I'm guessing that would be what Harry and the others called the Black Mass. That caused Sir Professor to stare at her before his eyes were caught by the sight of Harry slugging Shadow Bunny in the stomach and causing it to stagger. Black Mass? Slowly, Erika nodded around the lump in her throat as she could feel the temperature drop. You know the guards who've gotten killed at Freddy's? Yeah, that's kind of what happened to them. Thankfully, they like Harry. Shadow Freddy had just thrown Rose away from it, obviously having gotten hurt from her attack, and snarled at Harry. Why? You like us. Why you protect Freddy's? All that caused was for Harry to whip his head around as though, we're nothing like you. Richter's grin then grew on Harry's face. Besides, we're guards. It's what we do. However, the conversation served its purpose and distracted Harry enough for Shadow Bonnie to slug him in the face and send him flying. Shadow Freddy grinned at this, only to hear a screech behind him, and he turned to see Veronica rushing towards him as she leaned back eager for her mouth. You dare harm a child in front of me? I'll rip you apart! Scream! Then Veronica was upon him, her claws ripping and tearing at Shadow Freddy. Soon she was joined by Rose, who was equally enraged. Ignoring this, Shadow Bonnie continued to walk towards Harry, who slowly got to his feet. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up for, Aya. I'm getting tired. It feels like I'm freezing and burning here. He hid his wings as he flexed his hand, not to mention the pin's needle. Without a turn of frown, Aya sighed. I know, Harry, I know. But we only really need to distract him long enough for Rose and Veronica to rip apart that Freddy wannabe. Seeing the incoming punch, Harry blocked it with one arm and heard his bone creak under the pressure. And if that was not bad enough, he could see the blood vessels under his paling skin blackening. Can't happen soon enough. Another punch sent him skidding across the floor, his back hitting the wall. One of his eyes then focused in on his hammer that was on the floor that he had brought, just in case. The very same one that he'd used to destroy the marionette. Harry could just feel the grin Aya had as she whispered to him. You thinking what I'm thinking? A chuckle ripped through Harry's throat as he reached out for it, a stream of mist extending from his hand. If it worked on one animatronic. The mist reached the hammer and circled around its handle before yanking it to Harry's hand before he swung around and swung it. It should work on another. The hammer, wrapped in the same black mist as Harry, impacted Shadow Bonnie's leg at the knee. With the sound of snapping and the screech of metal giving away, the entire joint bent sideways under the hit. As he fell to his knees, Shadow Bonnie screamed in Harry's face. Scream! Harry's reply was to swing the hammer again and hit him in the face, crumbled half of Shadow Bonnie's head in. Well, bloody fuck you too! Another screech caused Harry to look to where the badly damaged Shadow Freddy had finally knocked off Veronica Rose and was charging at him. Before it managed to reach him, though, a shout called all their attention. Hey! Everyone turned toward the door to the office to see a grinning Michelle who lifted a spray can and a lighter. Forget about me? Shadow Bonnie only had a moment to widen his eyes before Michelle turned on the lighter and pressed the spray can's button. With a whoosh, a stream of flame shot out and hit the shadow animatronic head on, causing it to screech as it tried to bat away the flames. Her attack only lasted a couple of seconds as Shadow Bonnie rushed her through the stream of flames. She was forced to drop the spray can and lighter as it tried to take her head off with a swipe of its paws. Michelle! Rolling back to her feet, Michelle grimaced at the sight of the shadow animatronic, which had a large amount of its costume burned off in its face and upper torso. Okay, that didn't work. As she dodged whatever swipe, Michelle reached into her pockets. Let's see if the old heirloom from Grandpa that Mom passed down to me will help. Once more trying to swipe at her head, Shadow Freddy was surprised as Michelle ducked under his arm while pulling her hands out of her pocket to reveal brass knuckles that seemed to have crystals on them. Then she punched him in the jaw hard enough to stagger the animatronic. Before he could recover, Michelle followed up with another punch that loosened the jaw. Suddenly, Rose was behind him and pinned Freddy's arms above his head. You aren't the only one that he forgot about. With a screech, Veronica leapt over Michelle and plunged her claw into the struggling animatronic's chest. Go! Help Harry! We've got this! Nodding, Michelle rushed towards Harry as Shadow Bonnie got up and picked up an axe laying on the floor. Harry! Catch! She threw it along the floor and Harry caught it with the mist wrapping around as he turned and swung into... Oh, Michelle picked up the axe. Okay, I thought Shadow Bonnie had picked it up. She threw it along the floor and Harry caught it with the mist wrapping around it as he turned and swung it in an upward arch, which caused the axe to embed itself almost entirely in Shadow Bonnie's crotch area. Harry winced a bit, as did the other males there. I meant to do that? As he slowly stumbled back to his feet, Shadow Bonnie's only functional eye glowed. Going to rip your guts out. Not even a moment later, its head was knocked aside as Michelle punished him. Gah! Harry held the axe in one hand after having yanked it out of Shadow Bunny and the hammer in the other as Michelle got into position beside him. How the hell are you doing that? Blowing some of her bangs away from her eyes, Michelle glanced at the brass knuckles and shrugged. No clue, actually. All I know is that my grandfather, on my mother's side, used them during World War II at some Nazi castle while I was in the OSS. Said that there was nothing that the Nazis had that they couldn't beat the shit out of. Always did go on about paranormal Nazi bullshit. Look, she shrugged a moment. I just figured that they might be useful if we ever fought an animatronic. For a moment, Harry nodded a bit. Makes sense. Narrowing his eyes as he ignored how Shadow Freddy was rapidly losing to Rose and Veronica, he grinned. Let's do this. Working together, Michelle distracting Shadow Bonnie as Harry wielded both weapons to damage it, Shadow Bonnie did not last long. Finally, the Shadow animatronic collapsed to the ground and stilled. After Shadow Freddy's clippered body was thrown next to Shadow Bonnie, Rose shook her head. Why did you attack us? What are you? There was stillness before Shadow Bonnie raised one finger and pointed at both Rose and Veronica as his voice glitched. Like them. Died when suits failed. Pain, blood, bodies cleared out. Got into thin air. Management. Shadow Freddy then continued on, even though his jaw was nearly gone. Needed to destroy Freddy. Kill management. With a scowl, Aya poked her head out of Harry's shoulders and glared at him. You're both too late for that. They're already dead. As for Freddy's, Harry's is nothing like them and would not allow what happened to you and us to happen to anyone else on his watch. However, should I get an answer for the two? At that moment, the lights in their eyes died, and their bodies dissolved into black mists that seeped into the floors. With a sigh, Harry felt air leave his body, as did the black mass, while his eyes went back normal. Guess it's over. But suddenly, it felt like he had not slept in days, and the world tilted crazily as he stumbled, everything catching up to him. What? As the world seemed to blur and swirl around him, Harry barely felt the floor as he fell back and hit it. Not even a moment later, Michelle's blurry face filled his sight, and she talked to him. But to Harry, it sounded as if he was underwater, as her voice was muffled and seeming to come from far away. Harry? Harry! Stay with us! And darkness claimed him, and he knew no more. And that's the end of chapter 20. That was quite long. I don't know if that's the longest chapter for the story, though. It might be. It might not be. It's probably in the middle somewhere. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the chapter. If you did, leave a like. Comment down below, or first leave a review. Go to the chapter link, leave a review, let the author know what you think, and then after you do that, come back to me. And who knows, maybe your review might encourage the guy to continue. Give it inspiration, you know? But yeah. And be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday. Anyway,